It says time traveling toaster, by the way. It's hard to write on bread.
Hey guys, Magnus Rabbit. So I hope you enjoyed that little intro there. Thought it'd be pretty funny. Yeah. So today I'm bringing back a kind of a new series. I guess I've sort of done it before. I did it with the Destination Springfield, where I said I did a top 10 reasons this may be the best update we've had in a long time. And this is kind of like one I'm doing. It's more like a follow-up. I'm going to do five pros, 5 cons, not 10, because I'll be here forever, and I don't know if I can come up with that many. So yeah, 5 pros, 5 cons to, of course, the time traveling toaster update. So we're 2 acts in. I've completed both Act 1 and Act 2 now. Of course, we are still waiting 8 days, 9 days, something like that, for Act 3. So Act 3 still has to come along. But that's okay. I think we're in the kind of right sort of time. I've seen basically more than half the update. So I think I can kind of properly judge it, and then I'll do my sort of conclusion to my judgment in my content list, where I'll just list everything that we got in this update. But I think this is kind of like a pretty cool thing to do. So for every major update we get, I think I'm going to do this for you guys. So sort of halfway through the update, I'll say if I think it's cool thus far. And yeah, I think I'll do it for every major update, because I think, why not? Okay, so yeah, 5 pros, 5 cons, and I'm also going to say a favourite character and a favourite building. I'm not going to do a worst character and a worst building, but I'll definitely do a favourite. So let's go. So let's start with the pros. Let's start with the good stuff. So my first good point, the first thing I think is just brilliant, is of course the 2 prize track system, and of course the fossil digging system. It kind of bundles into one point in some sense. So of course you have the excavation site, which of course is the fossil digging. So you dig soil blocks and you try and find the treasure to obviously get, on that prize track. And of course you have the regular prize track, where you tap the little things and you complete tasks and all that. And of course, and some of the buildings give you them as well. And of course that's how you get that currency. But basically, yeah, and that's how and then of course you can skip it with donuts as well. But yeah, so you have the main storyline, the main prize track, and the secondary prize track. I think it's really, really cool. Now, of course, you could say they've technically done this before, when they have daily prizes, and you've got to do something every day, and then eventually you earn some pretty crappy prizes, but then you earn something significant. I mean, yeah, you could say that, but this is a legit prize track where it isn't done daily or anything. This is just done. You have the same amount of days you have for the primary prize track as you do for the secondary prize track. So basically that is 2 prize tracks. Now I've got to say the second prize track prizes are pretty crappy. They're not that amazing, and I've got to probably say that's probably my one negative to the prize track, but that isn't an actual con. That's just a con to the pro. But I still think it's cool that we did get a second one. So yeah, that's my first point. My second pro is the very creative storyline, and I like how it's all brought together. I like the different time zones, and how the quest line, the stuff with the toaster, and how you send them to the little workshop. You can send different Springfielders, and I just overall think it's really, really cool. The different time zones as well are done very well. I love the way it's structured as well. The way the story's structured, it's not just, a bundle of shit, bundle of crap, sorry, I should say. Bundle of crap in one act, and then they just shove another bundle of crap in the second act, and another, they've split it off. Prehistoric, Egyptian, and pirates. They've split it off in quite nice, 3 parts, which I think is really cool. So the structure and the creative storyline, that's all kind of one massive point. Just creativeness is the point. The second pro is this really honestly creates the possibility for a second part. Now I've said this before in Destination Springfield. Obviously in the Secret Agents you can't get a second part for the Secret Agents. That's the only Secret Agents event they can ever do, because they added absolutely everything and they milked it a bit to obviously get that update. But I definitely see potential for a part 2 for this. Now, the good thing about the time traveling toaster is it can bring sci-fi stuff. Now, of course, the sci-fi update is a bit similar to this, you could say, because of course that goes into the future. But I think they could possibly tie those two the part 2 for the sci-fi and the part 2 for the time traveling toaster. I could really see them combining. I think that would be awesome. So we'd get for a pat, we get like, I don't know, another time period in the past. I don't know what time period, but you know what I mean. Then we'll get an act 3, that's maybe like not too far back in the past, kind of like modern-ish history, like World War II. That could be a possibility. That actually, no, I like that idea. That just came off the top of my head. But like a World War II, that'd be cool. And then the part 3 would be future, and I just think it would be awesome because there's be so much you could add, and it would bring both the sci-fi and the time traveling toaster together. Yeah, and my fourth pro is this update adds something every new 2 to 4 days. Now they've kind of added this as a new feature where it doesn't just add everything in store, just like that. Like it will just add everything from that act in store, and then you buy it. It actually like releases it as you go along. So we get something every 2 to 4 days. We get something new. Like for example, most recently we've got the Egyptian Egyptian playground. That's what it's called. Only a few days after we actually got the Egyptian act. So I just think it's really, really cool how they're doing that. And they're just giving us something little, nothing major, but something more every day. Of course, we've still got the Mozart bar and the concert hall to give us, which is like kind of an odd one out sort of storyline, but it'd still be pretty cool. So I'm excited to get that eventually. So yeah. It's a pretty simple point. It just adds something every 2 to 4 days. It keeps it fresh. It keeps us updated. So people who complete the there's something new. There's something new to look at. It's not getting too tedious for us. And then my final good point, and this is kind of a personal one. My fifth pro. It's probably not for everyone, but honestly, I had to include it as a pro. Is the NPCs are so cool. I really love them. The dinosaurs and the Egyptian gods. The Egyptian god. I think it's just awesome. I just think they're simple and cool little playable characters. I'm not so keen on the I think the next one we're getting is the diseased rats. Not too keen on them, to be honest with you. But for example, when we had the gremlin in Halloween, that one Halloween we had the gremlin as a non-playable character. I love that NPC. I thought it was brilliant. It was a really cool NPC because of course it reminded me of the episode, but also it was just a cool looking one. The dinosaurs look really, really cool, and the Egyptian gods I think are just stellar. Now, the one thing I didn't like about the Secret Agents event is those little annoying agents who run around. I didn't like them. I thought, of course, they got repetitive because we didn't get any new ones. That was quite annoying. I wasn't too keen on the tourists either. I thought they were pretty cruddy as well. They weren't amazing to me. So I'm actually really glad that we got a little NPC. These NPCs. To me, they just seem a lot more fresh and cool. And of course, it looks like we probably might be getting them as non-playable characters on the Takedown event. They seem to be unreleased at least. So the potential to be actual characters in our town, which would be really, really cool. And then we get onto the cons. I think when I do eventually get onto the best doodah character and building, I think I'll make that pretty snappy because this video is already getting quite long. Anyway, let's go through the cons. I'll try to go through them fairly quickly because we don't want to be too negative. Basically, first of all, the first con, and it's a big con, is of course we don't have very well-known characters. I think this is a big problem with these updates, and I don't think it's a problem that we can really. It's a problem we can't really get out of, and that's the problem. That's the problem. The problem with it is, of course, TapTap's added most of the prominent Simpsons characters. There's only a few, I'd say, B-level characters that we've got all the A-level characters, definitely. There's only a few B-level characters, like 3 or 4, that we haven't got. And of course, if you want to see them, they are in my top 20 characters I need to add. Obviously, 3 of them being, the most of them are retired characters, though, so it's kind of hard. But C-level characters are quite scarce as well. D-level characters are even scarce. We're getting kind of like E and F level characters. That's what these are. They're not very good. And some of them are very, like, they literally only have like a 4-second, 5-second appearance in The Simpsons. So they're really not prominent whatsoever. Now, it's cool just to get them anyway, because it's nice to have at least get everything. Let's get every little character in Simpsons. That would be awesome. But, it doesn't really make for exciting storylines when we've not really got exciting characters. And I know I've said that there's a creative storyline, which it is creative, but I don't think it's it'd be a lot more exciting if we got someone bigger. And that brings me on to my next point. My next point is, the second con is we haven't got very many playable characters. And I think this is another problem. Now you're probably thinking, There's quite a lot, aren't there? No, most of them are non-playables, and I actually generally, when I actually looked at the list of characters, I was thinking, geez, we've actually got way too many almost non-playable characters, and I was actually complaining because we didn't get so far before this update. I think we only had like 6 non-playable characters this entire year. I was like, really, we're not getting very many. Of course, we've got the Darwin fish, non-playable. We got Caveman Mo, who is a playable character, so that's 1. We got the Wisecracking Pirate, the Sexy Pirate, and of course the Blackbeard. I'm not sure if all will be playable. I presume the Sexy Pirate and Blackbeard will definitely be. Not sure about the Wisecracking Pirate. It might not be playable. Not sure. So I'll give that one a hit and miss. Baby T-Rex, the Homer Lizard, Raptor, the Giant Screamer Pillar, Blackbeard, and Hollis Hulbert and Mozart. So maybe 6, I'd say. I don't know. It depends, with the Sexy Pirate, the Wisecracking Carrot, and Parrot and Blackbeard. It depends what they are, and I presume they're probably all 3 of them. I'm not sure, but though so far there isn't that many playable characters. I think the non-playables almost outweigh them. I think they do outweigh them. Not sure actually, but yeah, I just think maybe 1 or 2. It wouldn't have to be very many. Just 1 or 2 more playable characters would have been nice. They could have delved into the history aspect of it a little bit more. I think that would have been cool. Obviously, with Hollis, we've got all that history kind of related stuff. Now, I'm thinking of the Super Friends. They're my first 4. I know they're kind of more scientists than historians, but I think they could make it work, Anyway, moving on. My third point is, of course, the Egyptian Act. The Egyptian Act isn't as strong as the Prehistoric Act. I think this is a major problem as well. And honestly, I think the Pirates Act is going to be the weakest because we've got hardly anything. We've got 3 characters, basically, in the Pirates one, whilst the Prehistoric was quite loaded. We had quite a few costumes. We had, loads of buildings and quite a few non-playable characters and a few playable there. And of course, all the major stuff like Hollis and all that, we got that right at the start of Act 1, so it kind of sinks into our mind as an Act 1 prize. And I think the problem for me is I don't think this Egyptian Act was as good. I thought it was cool. It wasn't as good as the Prehistoric one. So it's it's unbalanced, I think, in terms of the strength, the content, and the strength of each act. I think it's a bit. It was the Egyptian one wasn't as strong, if you know what I'm saying. I honestly think the pirate one is going to be weaker than the Egyptian one. I just don't see it being too well because we're only going to be getting. It looks like we're only going to get 1 building in that act. Yeah, which brings me to my next point. There's not too many buildings, and one of the major problems for me, this is my 4th con by the way, is not the fact that we've just not got very many buildings, but the fact that buildings we have, most of them shouldn't even be buildings. In any other update, they'd likely be decorations. What buildings do I talk about? Well, let's look. We've got the excavation site. I think this probably, to me, of course, it is a mini game, but it makes sense it being a decoration in my opinion. Moe's Cavern makes, again, I think it should really be a decoration. Even the Egyptian pyramid, I'd argue, kind of should be a decoration. We have a Boo symbol temple, maybe a building. The 2 boob-shaped rocks, that definitely should be a decoration, and even the Candy Apple Island, which we're going to be getting in the Pirates update, I think even that should be a decoration. To me, there's a lot of buildings that really should be decorations, but I think because they were running short on buildings, they had to make them buildings instead. And to me, that's a kind of a shame. It kind of, I would have liked some solid buildings, and I know it's kind of hard for what they're doing. Of course, they are going into the Egyptian period, and there's not really. I think there's only actually the 1 episode on the Egyptian stuff. Maybe like a few extra little things here and there, like things that were featured in other episodes. But really, there's not that much Egyptian related stuff that they can add. So they kind of have to add it all they can get, and throw some stuff together. And I think that's the problem. There's not very many buildings in that. It's a shame, really, because I think it would have been cool to get more buildings, but that's it. And then my final point, just closing on, is massive outweigh. There's a massive outweigh of premium over free items, and this comes mostly in the daily items. We get like not the daily, the stuff we're getting like 2 to every 4 days. Like all of that is premium. That's the one problem with that. It's like a pro to my. It's like a con to my pro. I think the premium stuff is ridiculous, and this isn't just excluded on this update. Of course, it's pretty much every update. There's just way too much premium stuff. I think EA are getting a bit stingy, really. Bit money grabbing, because there's way too much premium stuff. They really need to tone it down, and I think, or try and outweigh it a little bit and add some more free stuff, or let some of this stuff be, cash. I remember back in the day when we'd have loads and loads of decorations that you could just buy for cash, and there was actually very few that you could buy for donuts, but now it seems that everything's donuts. So yeah, they really need to change that. That's my fifth con. So they're my 5 pros, they're my 5 cons. Just briefly, I'll just talk about my favourite character and my favourite building. So far, my favourite character is by far the Screamer Pillar. And you're probably saying, Robert, he's an unplayable character. What are you on about? You're mad. But honestly, I really wanted them to add the Screamer Pillar. They ended up adding the Koi Pond in the Secret Agents event, and of course they had him as a little tiny decoration on the Koi Pond, and he's still there. So we've technically got 2 Screamer Pillars. I kind of thought to myself, fair enough, he doesn't have to be a non-playable character. He's there as a decoration. I'm pretty glad. I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty amused with that. It's still pretty funny. And then they went and added the Screamer Pillar. In this act, I was thinking, oh, okay. Of course, it's a giant Screamer Pillar. It's a bit bigger, which is kind of cool. And I thought, but I really like him. I think he is cool. He's definitely the best character. He definitely outweighs all the playable characters to me that we've got. Hollis is quite boring. I don't think there's any. He's not very interesting. He's quite bland and boring. And Caveman, though, I actually hate. So I hate the fact he's just his own character. I think they're the only 2 characters we've actually got so far. Yeah, that's yeah. And then my favourite building is the Sprinksonium Museum, whatever it's called, whatever the heck his name was. Yeah, I really like that one as well. I think it's cool how they bring in the museum aspect to it, and of course that is the crafting building. So I really like that. I just think it's really cool, pretty solid building. Of course, it's quite a recognisable building from The Simpsons, so definitely gets my pick for best building. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this not quick video. This detailed video. We're getting on to 20 minutes almost, so I do apologise if it's kind of long for you guys, but yeah, quite detailed. I thought I'd just kind of hit those points and evaluate those points for you. Sorry if the video wasn't amazing. I know probably the video is not going to be too amazing, but I can't really think of much that I can place over. But I hope it was interesting anyway. Tell me your thoughts, guys. What do you think of this update so far? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Or is it kind of meh? So far, I don't particularly love it, but I think it's just a bit better than a meh. It's just a little bit above a meh. It's like meh. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, I'll see you next video, guys. Thank you. Goodbye.